Mom?
I do Nahanchi Shodan. Nahanchi Shodan is a form of self...
Sure, it's for Destiny.
Hey, Miss Karen.
Hi, I'll be with you in just a moment. My protective energies are encompassing Chantel and my entire family.
There is no way I could have missed out on showing you guys Karen being Karen. And you know what though? She's not even being Karen in terms of the Karen way. She's just being Karen in terms of how the hell do you figure out this woman? What? Self-defense, yes!
Remember the first time that you moved out with him with a lowercase h. She got the apartment herself. She got his immigration papers herself. She bought his plane ticket herself. She gave him everything. And that's just what he wanted. Chantel should have listened to my warnings way back then because mama knows best.
What's going on, people? We are back again with another Moving Mad video. And you know what? In this world, sometimes there are certain people who you just do not want to prove right. And Karen is one of those people that you just don't need her to be right, because when she's right, this is what you get. Bloody, 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 blah. But that is not the point of the video. The point is, she may have been correct because it is still yet to be proven whether or not Pedro was using Chantel to just get into America. And I just feel like, based on everything that we've ever seen, things have always felt as if they've led into that direction of the fact that he was only using her to get into America. But I guess that's the perception that we've always been given by TLC and obviously how they want to film the show, right? Which is what it is. But at the same time though, I will say this though, it doesn't mean that Pedro was never in a position where he could have refused to be on the show. You know, it doesn't mean he wasn't in a position where he could have, you know, easily just spoke up, you know, when the show wasn't airing and his contract was done and dusted. So the fact that he never really spoke up in a way that was, convincing, or a way that was firm, you know what I mean? It really does kind of back up everything that we have been witnessed in, everything that we have seen. But let's not forget though, even though a lot of us have been convinced that Pedro was only with Chantel just for the green card, we can never ignore the way Chantel's family has been towards Pedro throughout the seasons. But then at the same time though, we also can't ignore how Pedro's family has also been towards Chantel over the seasons. And I just think it's one of those things where we could talk about, yeah, but this family did that, yeah, but that family did this. But the fact is though, it doesn't even matter what happened between the families. What matters is what happened between the two people involved. And it just felt as if like Pedro was living a very enjoyable life when he wasn't working and he had the game in, but the second that he got a job, it's just very, very coincidental that he then decided just to switch up out of nowhere, and then all of a sudden he's got all these accusations against Chantel. If he had these issues with her beforehand, why not address them right at that time? And now I'm not saying he didn't, but it just felt like the way he went about it just didn't feel very legit. But hey, we continue.
She was Pedro. She thought it was real. Yes. She thought it was real. Pedro and his mama and his sister deserve some payback, and they will get that payback. It's called the law of reciprocity.
This is a very annoying situation because I feel like I'm in a dilemma based on what I'm about to say. You see, Chantel's family is the kind of family that you do need when you're going through a hard time. It's the kind of family that they're always going to be there for you. But the only problem is that we've never really experienced them being there for her when she's having a good time. And I guess that's because, you know, they've never been a fan of Pedro, right? It's a very interesting situation because there's a saying that there are people who are going to be there for you only for your good times, but they'll never be there for your bad times. Then there's people that will never be there for your good times, but they'll only ever be there for your bad times, right? And they say that the people who are there for your good times and not for your bad times are there because they just want to leech off your happiness to make themselves feel better too, because they want to be a part of your. It's like, for example, when you get married, everybody wants to be there, but when you get divorced, nobody wants to be there. You know what I mean? So then the flip side is, when you go for a bad time, there's people who want to be there because they thrive off your pain, because some people just enjoy, you know, picking people up and helping them repair them, or they just like to see other people being miserable because it makes them feel better about their lives, jibber jabber. But then there's people who are there for you both on your good and also both on your bad. And those are the people that really and truly, they should only ever care about having in your life. So this is the thing about this family. I haven't necessarily experienced them being there for their daughter when things are being good. And maybe that's just due to the fact that they never liked Pedro. But it is annoying that they were never really there to support her massively when things were good. Because at least they would have identified that at least they're more than happy to try and let their own shiz to the side so they can do the best for their child. But I will say this though, the times maybe they have tried, Pedro's family have never made it easy. Maybe we can say that's vice versa, but from the things that I have seen, I am always going to say that it was always more Pedro's family that kind of tried to always poke the bear whenever Chantel's family did try to be cordial. But that's just based on what I saw. I'm not saying that it's factual. It may happen both sides. But let's just talk about that real quick, though. The fact that these two were in a relationship and both families just couldn't stand each other means that this breakup was always the inevitable. Always the inevitable. Whether he was using her or not, it was always the inevitable. And you know what's so sad about that? I recently learned that when you marry someone or be with someone, always be careful about what family you're married into. And that is something that these two should definitely look into. Because the next person that they decide to get married to, they better make sure that the families get along. Because if they don't, it's not looking good. But hey, it is sad though that Karen was like, this whole marriage was never real. Like, yo, wow. Imagine marrying someone your parent can't even comfort you and being like, well, at least you tried. Rather than saying, at least you tried to make it work, they're like, well, it was never real in the first place. Damn, Karen is a savage. Yeah, I would never want to be around her, especially with her. Ouch, I just hurt my wrist, but yeah, let's continue.
Ago, Chantel was happy, but her family controlled her, hated me, hated my family, and that was too much. He had to get out from there. Be in my marriage all my life? No.
It is quite tragic though, because based on how the families behaved on both sides, it is quite tragic that Pedro could easily always sit and say that, listen, I left because the family was not making me happy. The family was always being annoying. But the problem is that when he left the marriage, he never said that that was the reason. In fact, the fact that he stuck out for so long with Chantel, in my opinion, he's chatting absolute BS. And that just come to my mind just that second. I'm not even going to buy none of that nonsense. I feel like that is something else that doesn't work in his favor in terms of the fact that he was with her just for the green card. Because let me tell you something real quick here. He was never oblivious. Neither one of them were ever oblivious to how their families behaved without a shadow of a doubt. So there was always the option to walk away. Always on both sides, whether it be Chantel or whether it be Pedro. But of course, Chantel, she was in a position where she was in love with a man, but she wanted to prove her family wrong, that he was a good man and he wanted it for her, because at the end of the day, I would say a part of her came from self-esteem. You know, she wanted to prove that, yes, I am good enough for a man from a foreign country to want me and to want me for me and not to want me for the green card. So I can understand her ego maybe being a part of it, as well as also the love. So for her leaving him, that was never really going to be the situation, and therefore I understand that. But for him now, you see, he had every reason to leave her every single step of the way, but he stuck with her every single step of the way, regardless of all the shiz the family threw at his direction, whether it was her family or his family. And then that makes you wonder, why would you stick through? Would you stick through because you do love her and you want to prove everyone wrong? Or would you stick through because you have an agenda? And that has always been the golden question. Now, we can say that maybe he was forced out because of the behavior of the family, but we cannot sit here and say that the way he behaved, no, we cannot sit here and say that he was necessarily forced out by the family, because he was there with her for long enough to get married, long enough to get a job, long enough to get the green card. So that's why I would never use an excuse. But also at the same time, he couldn't say that anyway, in my opinion, because it's not like his family were also behaving anyway. So if he's trying to use the excuse of, I'm in a bad marriage because the family was always doing this and that, and while neglecting that his family was doing the same thing, that's complete BS. Because he had the opportunity to leave this relationship a very, very long time ago, but he didn't. He stuck through. And throughout that, his attitude changed within due time. And his attitude changed in due time, but when I say he changed in due time, it changed in enough time to not marry Chantel. It changed in enough time to not get a green card. It changed in enough time to not get a home together. It changed way before that. But then that's the funny part, isn't it? Once he got the job, even the home, but let's say the job necessarily, boom. Things went complete south real quick for him. There was no more trying. There was no more trying to make it work. Because remember, a marriage and a relationship, to make it work, two people have to try, not one, two. He gave up. Or see, he gave up, or he finally said, you know, I got what I want now, I'm going to bounce. But we continue.
Me sell the house?
Well, I don't trust you to plant the money with me when you get the commission, and I also don't trust you to do it in a legal way.
See, and distrust, that was all the reason, you know, that we separate apart. Because she said, oh my God, you hang out too much at work, you do too much things. But I never mistrust her. Like, when she was a super jealous woman, she always was jealous, like, all the time. I know the...
Okay, if you knew that Chantel was someone that was a jealous person, okay, why would you then put yourself in positions where that would trigger her jealousy more? Why would you even stay with her if you knew that she was a jealous person? Why would you stay with her if you knew that jealousy was an issue for you? And to be honest, the fact that he's proposing the idea of her trusting him to sell the house is out. It's ludicrous. Why would she want to trust you to sell the house? Why would she want to do that? The trust in your relationship is done now. It's over and done with. The fact that he thought that was even a possibility is quite hilarious to me, because let's be real, there is no way this marriage, also this divorce, was ever gonna go down in a cordial way, based on one, these two don't like each other anymore, and two, because the families hate each other. Point blank, period. That was never gonna happen, right? You know what I mean? There was too many factors around it for her to want to ever trust him, and for her to ever want to be cordial with him, and vice versa. You know. But yeah, like for me personally, again, the fact that he felt like she was a jealous person, again, why would you stick around with her for so long? Because if you were to stick around with her for so long for being a jealous person, that would maybe mean or indicate that maybe you stuck around because you felt like you had the tools to reassure her for her to never be jealous. But you know what? Let's remove jealousy out of the window real quick. If you've in a relationship, generally speaking, after work, that is the time you spend with your partner. Now, not every single time. Obviously, there's times when she might want to go out with her friends and you may want to go out with your people's 100%. But you was legit avoiding your woman every single freaking day. Come on, man. You can't explain that BS. Come on. Pedro likes to act like he's dumb, but he's not as dumb as he appears. You know what I mean? Come on now. And also on top of that, Pedro is someone that grew up with 2 women in his life. So he should know how women are. You know what I mean? I mean, let's be real. Like, if you're looking at his mother and you're looking at his sister, he should know a whole lot more. He should know a whole lot what it's like if you don't make a woman feel wanted and all that kind of stuff. Because he sees that every day with his own family. Come on now, don't act stupid.
Where's my chair?
The chair's gone.
I love that chair.
You love that chair more than you ever could have loved me, that's for sure.
I think so. I love the chair and you equally. Yeah.
Well,
I personally don't think he was joking. I genuinely feel like he loved that chair as much as he loved her, or if anything, loved the chair way much more than he loved her. Like, for real, this guy needs help. Wow.
You were so petty to try to get, to try to get the point that you want to get me deported, and try to the point that you want to ruin my life, and try to the point that you will ruin my career. And you know, that's petty. She's a nice person. She always was evil. She never was a good person. I hope that Chantel not try to make this more difficult than it has to be.
Sometimes in life, being quiet is probably the best thing to do, right? Sometimes in life, right? And it's funny because in the first episode, Pedro talked about how he wasn't speaking to Chantel for 9 months because he didn't want anything that he said to go up against him, right? To be honest with you, I feel like he should keep that up, because right now, everything that he's saying is just giving me, or at least I imagine everybody else, the proof that yes, he was only ever with her, the green card. Because if he knew that she was evil, then why was he with her? If he knew she was petty, then why did he stay with her? You just gotta think about it, right? And you can't say, oh, maybe it was love and Nah, I'm not buying that. Because the fact is, though, it's the timing of when he decided to actually open up about her being this and that, and that's why he can't be with because of this and that. The timing is just too much of a coincidence. You know what I mean? If the timing was not a coincidence, then it'd be a different conversation, but it's too much of a coincidence. But you know what, though? The best way to finish the video is with a little bit of Karen. So let's see what she's up to now.
And one time, he and this girl was out kissing and swinging it. Karema.
Right.
You need to investigate that.
I have so great time.
You saw me lap dancing on a man, getting swung around, him grinding on me like a private dancer. What would you call that?
I would call that cheating.
I think I would.
We have done several cases in the DR, so we're familiar with research down there. So what we would do is look into him, but we're going to get as much information as we can.
I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm actually quite invested to find out where this goes with this whole PI situation, because boy, that is mad. But to be fair, part of me feels like maybe it's just someone that was recruited to just be a part of the show. But if it's someone that's legit, I'm very curious to see exactly where this goes. But Karen, there is no stopping that woman. That woman is someone that once she's hell-bent on something, she is hell-bent on that thing. And you know what? I gotta respect it to a certain degree. Even though I can never be around someone like her, nor can I ever be friends with someone like her, nor can I ever be anyone that has a parent like that. Wow, that would be my worst enemy. No, my worst nightmare. Yeah. Either way, though, interesting. Let me know what you're thinking down below, and we'll talk about it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and of course, peace.